Tonight, we're not just talking about reality TV. We're peeling back the curtain on a decades-long deception that destroyed one of the most infamous families on television. The official story says the Browns fell apart because of heartbreak, COVID tension, and spiritual drift. But what if I told you that's only the surface? Behind the cameras, a quiet war was raging, one built on manipulation, control, and cold financial strategy. Sources close to the family and former production insiders have whispered about secret deals, hidden ledgers, and a plan years in the making. What they described wasn't just a breakup. It was a hostile takeover. This isn't the story TLC wants you to hear. This is the story they buried. Coyote Pass, the so-called dream property, wasn't just a failed family project. It was the chessboard where everything fell apart. On screen, we saw tears, frustration, and endless debates about money. Off-screen, though, Cody and Robyn were playing a much darker game. According to insider reports, right after buying Coyote Pass, Cody and Robyn allegedly ordered a private, off-the-books land survey. Not the kind required for the sale. This was a deep dive into water rights, soil value, and future development potential. And the results? Explosive. The plot Robyn had her eye on turned out to have the best view, the strongest ground, and, most importantly, the best access to water. Christine's and Janelle's lots, meanwhile, were far less valuable, expensive to build on, unstable in parts, and harder to develop. That's when the manipulation began. Every delay, every excuse Cody made about paying off the land, it all starts to make sense now. He wasn't indecisive. He was patient, strategic. He knew if he stalled long enough, the other wives, especially Christine and Janelle, would eventually give up. The plan was simple: frustrate them, make the land seem like a dead investment, and when they finally walked away, buy their shares for pennies on the dollar. The dream of family unity was just the cover story for a financial coup. And at the heart of it all was what insiders now call Robyn's shadow ledger. You see, while the other wives believed they were pooling their money equally, from TLC checks to small business profits, Robyn was allegedly keeping meticulous notes behind the scenes. Every dollar spent for Christine or Janelle's kids, marked as a loan. Every family expense that benefited Robyn and Cody, categorized as a business cost. Over time, that ledger quietly created an invisible imbalance, one that made Christine, Janelle, and Meri appear to owe money to Cody and Robyn. So when they finally walked away, they walked away empty-handed. Christine had to sell her house just to move to Utah. Janelle was left in an RV with nothing but debt. And Meri, she had to fight just to fund her own B&B. Decades of work. Years of sacrifice. And in the end, they weren't leaving a marriage. They were escaping a trap. That's why Janelle's bitter comment about her Coyote Pass payout being a nice parting gift hits harder now. It wasn't sarcasm, it was heartbreak. The realization that everything she thought she owned had already been siphoned away by the system Cody and Robyn built together. But even as the old alliances collapsed, new cracks began forming where no one expected. Christine and Janelle's friendship, once a symbol of freedom and unity, is, according to some sources, showing serious strain. Behind the smiling selfies and business promotions lies tension. Christine, now living her new life with David Woolley, has stepped into the spotlight. The fame, the attention, the luxury. Janelle, ever the quiet pragmatist, is reportedly growing tired of it. Their bond, some say, has become more of a business partnership than a sisterhood. So was this ever really about love, loyalty, or faith? Or was it always about power and emotional, financial, and spiritual? Because if this theory is true, then the Brown family didn't collapse by accident. It was engineered from within. And now, as the final chapters unfold, one truth remains. The war for Coyote Pass may be over, but the consequences of that betrayal are only just beginning. As the dust settles on the wreckage of the Brown family, new fractures are emerging, not just between ex-wives, but between those who once stood shoulder to shoulder against Cody and Robyn's empire. Christine Brown, now the face of freedom and rebirth, is quietly fighting a new kind of battle. One not waged in courtrooms or therapy sessions, but in contracts and boardrooms. Sources close to production claim the tension between Christine and Janelle has reached a breaking point. During negotiations for their new TLC spinoff, insiders say Christine demanded and received a significantly higher salary and even a producer credit, positioning herself as the breakout star of the post-Cody era. Janelle, on the other hand, was reportedly offered a standard supporting cast contract, a move that cut deep and stirred resentment. For years, these two women appeared united, sisters in strength, survivors of manipulation. But behind closed doors, Janelle allegedly feels reduced to Christine's sidekick, the steady hand living in the shadow of her friend's newfound fame. And the strain doesn't stop there. Whispers from within their joint wellness business claim their once harmonious partnership is crumbling. Christine, with her bold, high-energy approach to promotion, reportedly launched a campaign without consulting Janelle, one Janelle considered off-brand and damaging. What followed was a heated phone call that left both women shaken. Christine may have the new husband, the spotlight, and the luxury, but Janelle holds something far more powerful: the love and loyalty of nearly all her children. They stand by her quietly, fiercely, refusing to let Cody rewrite the story. And according to insiders, that silent strength is something Christine both admires and resents. Their alliance for now survives because they need each other, for brand deals, for public image, for strength in numbers. But when the cameras stop rolling and the contracts expire, insiders predict the end of their partnership will come not with a fight, but with silence. The sisterhood forged in the ashes of polygamy may not survive the weight of independence. And then there's Meri. For years, she was the ghost of the Brown family, the loyal soldier who stayed long after love had turned to dust. Her exit from the marriage was quiet, overshadowed by Christine's freedom and Janelle's defiance. But what if Meri's silence isn't surrender? What if it's strategy? A growing theory among former TLC crew members suggests Meri Brown is playing the long game. She isn't just healing, she's preparing. Insiders claim Meri has been quietly compiling a tell-all memoir. Not the sanitized family fluff of the past, but a raw, documented exposé packed with receipts, emails, and text messages she's allegedly been saving for over a decade. For years, Meri was the family's unofficial archivist. She kept everything, and what she reportedly holds could change everything we thought we knew. Among the digital records, sources claim there are screenshots of Cody's private rants, his financial manipulation, his attempts to pit the wives against each other, and evidence that he diverted family funds to cover Robyn's old debts and their Las Vegas home, all while insisting the family pot was empty. Meri was told to contribute more of her LuLaRoe earnings to Dabsark Entertainment, with promises of returns that never came. Now, it's said she has the proof, and the patience to use it. Why wait? According to insiders, Meri is timing this perfectly. She's waiting for Cody and Robyn's TLC contract to end, when legal threats and network interference can't silence her. And more importantly, she was waiting out of respect for the kids. But Garrison Brown's death, and Cody's cold response, may have changed everything. Sources say Meri now believes the truth must come out, no matter the cost. When her book drops, it won't be a scandal. It'll be a detonation. A blast powerful enough to destroy what little public sympathy Cody and Robyn still have, and maybe even trigger a full-scale investigation into their finances. Meri Brown, the woman they dismissed and ignored, might just be the one to bring their empire crashing down. But the real emotional storm lies with the children. The world saw the estrangement, the heartbreaking moments when Gabriel and Garrison confronted their father, the tears, the distance, the silence. But insiders now claim what happened wasn't random. It was organized. They call it the Pact. A secret alliance formed by a core group of the adult Brown children, Pyden, Mykelti, Madison, Gabriel, and the late Garrison, united by one goal: to protect their mothers and hold Cody accountable. According to a source close to the family, the siblings created a private encrypted group chat where they shared information, financial inconsistencies, emotional manipulation, and stories of how Robyn slowly isolated their mothers. Piece by piece, they built the puzzle the adults refused to see. They uncovered the shadow ledger, the missing money, the favoritism, the fraud. But their mission goes beyond just emotional justice. The source claims the children have been quietly saving portions of their own earnings, from jobs, from social media, from partnerships, to fund something unprecedented: a forensic audit of the Brown family finances. Their goal? To trace every TLC paycheck, every family fund transfer, every mortgage payment, all the way back to the beginning. They want the truth in writing. They want to prove that millions meant to support 5 households ended up in the pockets of only 2, Cody and Robyn. It's bold, it's risky. And if successful, it could expose the entire Brown legacy as one of the most shocking family cover-ups in modern reality TV history. Because what began as a reality show about love and unity may finally end as a courtroom reckoning built on betrayal, receipts, and justice. The children are no longer just victims of their father's choices. They've become investigators, quietly digging through years of secrets to seek justice for their mothers. This isn't just about pain or anger anymore. It's about betrayal. It's about justice. They watched their mothers sacrifice everything, their youth, their freedom, their faith, only to be left with almost nothing. And now, they want answers. They want to know, where did all the money go? Behind every emotional breakdown on screen, behind every tense confrontation, there's been another story. One that's been hiding in plain sight. A secret war, a rebellion. The children have formed a pact, a silent alliance to protect their mothers and uncover the truth. Their goal isn't just closure, it's to reclaim the legacy that was stolen from them. But now, let's turn to the man at the center of this collapsing empire, Kody Brown. Once the self-proclaimed patriarch, the so-called spiritual leader of his family, he now stands adrift. A king without a kingdom, raging at the world for his own downfall. He blames his wives, he blames his children, he blames anyone but himself. He says he's done with polygamy, that it destroyed emotional intimacy. And now he just wants a quiet, monogamous life with Robyn. But what if that's all an act? What if Kody's heartbreak is just performance? Because according to an explosive insider report, Kody's retirement from polygamy might just be a rebranding, a setup for his next act. At a trade show in Arizona, a witness claims they overheard Kody bragging about his new master plan. A comeback, a reboot, a new reality show, tentatively titled Kody Brown, Rebuilding the Principal, or The Patriarch's Return. His idea? To find and court two new, young, loyal sister wives on camera. He wants to prove that polygamy didn't fail. His ex-wives did. According to this report, Robyn would stay by his side, the wise first wife, mentoring his new brides, while Kody plays the role of a misunderstood patriarch making his glorious return. It's arrogance wrapped in delusion, a complete rewriting of history designed to paint him as the victim, and his ex-wives as the villains. And the motive? Not love, not redemption, money, fame, relevance, a desperate man chasing his next television paycheck. But the real twist, the piece that ties this entire web of manipulation together, doesn't come from a recent event. It comes from a moment the world never got to see. A scene that was filmed and then buried. What insiders now call the lost confession. According to a former crew member, it happened years ago in Las Vegas, during the darkest days of the catfishing scandal. Cameras rolled late one night in Robyn's kitchen, just Robyn and Meri, no one else. Robyn, under pressure, finally cracked. In tears, she allegedly confessed that she never believed in polygamy, that she didn't have a spiritual testimony at all. She said she married Kody not out of divine calling, but desperation, to give her children security, to escape poverty. And then, she said the words that change everything. I love Kody, but I don't love this life. She begged Meri not to tell anyone, terrified that if Kody or the others found out, it would destroy everything she built. That confession, if true, exposes her entire story as a lie. It reframes her not as a devoted believer, but as a strategist. A woman who played the long game, manipulating love, faith, and family to secure her position as the final wife standing. The footage never aired. The source claims Kody saw it, exploded in rage, and demanded it be deleted. But in the digital age, nothing ever truly disappears. Somewhere out there, a backup of that footage may still exist, waiting to surface. And that's when everything clicks. The Coyote Pass deception, the missing money, the children's secret alliance, the whispers about Meri's tell-all. It all connects. This wasn't a slow family breakdown. It was a controlled demolition. Every betrayal, every lie, every tearful episode was part of a design. Kody and Robyn didn't lose control. They took control. They turned a family into a kingdom, and then into a business. Now, the only question that remains is this. Will the children find the proof they need to expose everything? Will Meri finally release the tell-all that burns the last bridges? And will Cody and Robyn survive the truth when it finally comes for them? Because one thing is certain, the ghosts of their past aren't done haunting them yet. The show may be winding down, but the real story, the one fought in secret ledgers, encrypted chats, and hidden bank accounts, is far from over. What you've seen on camera is just the sanitized version. The true war inside the Brown family is being fought in silence, behind closed doors and in the shadows of Flagstaff's quiet streets. TLC might want you to believe that Cody and Robyn are living a story of redemption, rediscovering love, rebuilding what was lost after the other wives walked away. But according to insiders, that fairy tale is nothing more than a desperate illusion. The truth? Their so-called monogamous paradise is collapsing from within. Locals whisper about a theory, one we call the Conqueror's Covenant. For years, Cody and Robyn's marriage wasn't built on faith or romance. It was built on war. Their bond was forged in the fire of competition, strengthened by one shared goal: to win. Every tear, every manipulation, every secret plan was designed to outmaneuver the other wives, to secure the throne, the house, and the money. But that war is over now. The other wives are gone. And without a common enemy, that same toxic energy has turned inward, devouring them both. A Flagstaff business source who's seen Robyn recently describes her as hollowed out, constantly anxious, isolated. The victory she schemed for has turned into a nightmare. Cody's volatile temper, once diffused across 4 wives, now lands squarely on her. She wanted to be the queen, but now she's the only subject left in a crumbling kingdom. Inside their home, the battles are constant. Arguments that once centered on the other wives now revolve around control, over money, over children, over power. Robyn's children, now teenagers, have begun to resist Cody's strict authoritarian rule. She spends her days trying to mediate his fury and protect her kids from the man she once defended to the world. And then there's the money, the bloodline of every Brown scandal. Remember Cody's obsession with expensive watches, guns, and flashy cars? With the family pot gone, those habits didn't disappear. They became the spark for a new war. According to exclusive sources, Robyn has tried to enforce a strict budget, attempting to save for their future. But to Cody, that's an insult. In his mind, he's the patriarch, the man who sacrificed everything. And now he demands his reward. This has created what insiders call a financial Cold War. Hidden credit card statements, secret purchases, accusations flying across the dinner table. Robyn, once the architect of financial secrecy, now finds herself trapped in her own design. The shadow ledger she built to control the wives has turned on her. The monster she helped create is now her husband. But it gets darker. Financial investigators we spoke to suggest that this isn't just about reckless spending. It's about financial laundering, a deliberate network of shell companies built to hide and move money. Around the time the family relocated to Flagstaff, records allegedly show the creation of multiple LLCs: Coyote Pass Holdings, Flagstaff Legacy Properties, KN&R Consulting. They sound legitimate, but they're allegedly paper entities, empty shells used to redirect TLC payments. Instead of the network paying directly to the family's shared company, funds were allegedly rerouted as consulting fees or location management payments. For example, Coyote Pass Holdings, owned solely by Cody and Robyn, could charge the production company hefty filming rights fees for the property. The other wives? They'd never see a cent. Even Robyn's failed business, My Sister Wife's Closet, might have been part of the scheme. What looked like a flop could have been a front, with profits funneled into KN&R Consulting under the guise of brand management. To the other wives, it looked like a loss. But behind the scenes, money was being siphoned off before it ever reached the family accounts. This is a classic financial smokescreen. Layered LLCs, fake invoices, buried transactions, all perfectly legal on paper, but nearly impossible to untangle without a full forensic audit. It explains the family's strange financial collapse, the missing funds, and why so many assets vanished just before the separations began. The facade of love, unity, and faith was just that, a facade. Behind the cameras, the Browns weren't just filming reality TV, they were running an empire. And like all empires built on deceit, it was only a matter of time before it began to fall. Now the walls are closing in. The financial cracks are spreading. And Robyn, once the mastermind, is discovering that her crown was made of glass. So the question remains, when the truth about these secret companies comes out, and it will Robyn finally break her silence, or will she take the fall for the empire she helped Kody build? Because one thing's for sure, the Brown family's war isn't over. It's just gone underground. This is the financial labyrinth the Brown children now face. A maze of shell companies, secret accounts, and buried paper trails that could rewrite everything we thought we knew about the sister wives' empire. The audit isn't just about one account or a few missing checks. They're chasing ghosts, a network built to make millions vanish without a trace. If they can prove this, it stops being a family dispute and becomes something much darker, potential corporate malfeasance and tax fraud. And that's the secret Kody and Robyn are desperate to bury. Because if it ever comes to light, they don't just lose their reputation, they lose everything. But while the older children wage this silent war, others are paying the price. The collateral damage lies in the next generation, Robyn's children, Dayton, Aurora, and Brianna, and Meri's only child, Leon. On TV, they're portrayed as loyal, thriving, and unshakably devoted. But insiders describe something much more tragic. These aren't just kids, they're shields. They live in what one family confidant called a pressure cooker of performative happiness. Every smile, every photo, every polite answer hides the unspoken rule: be perfect, be obedient, and never question the narrative. Their loyalty isn't love, and it's survival. Dayton, on the autism spectrum, has reportedly struggled the most under Kody's overbearing, erratic rule. He dreams of independence, a life free from constant surveillance, but that desire is met with suspicion and control. Robyn and Kody see his independence as betrayal. Aurora's on-camera panic attacks weren't just TV drama. They were symptoms of a home where her primary role is to soothe her mother's emotions and validate her pain. And Brianna, the youngest, has known no other world, her reality shaped by her mother's story of righteousness and victimhood. She lives surrounded by comforts but starved of emotional freedom. She cannot express sympathy for Christine, Janelle, or Meri's children. To do so would be to betray her mother. Then there's Leon, Meri's only child, whose public journey of identity and self-acceptance inspired many, but whose private reality has been far more painful. Meri's struggle to understand was public, but Kody's response was far more sinister. Kody's world is built on control, power, and rigid patriarchy. Leon's truth threatened all of that. And according to a source close to Meri, Kody didn't just disapprove, he manipulated the entire narrative. He allegedly told Meri that Leon's journey was rebellion, not authenticity. That accepting them would be weakness. It was a classic Kody tactic: isolate and conquer. By turning Meri against her own child, he deepened the wedge, broke her spirit, and kept his control intact. Leon, feeling rejected by both parents, pulled away, protecting themselves from a family dynamic built on dominance, not love. But this pattern, emotional manipulation, secrecy, control, didn't just infect the family. It extended to the very people who filmed them. According to a former Sister Wives producer, TLC and Puddle Monkey Productions knew far more than they ever admitted. They weren't innocent observers. They saw the receipts, the financial records, the uneven budgets. They knew Kody and Robyn were living lavishly while Janelle was barely holding things together. But they made a choice. Conflict makes great television, financial fraud does not. So they looked the other way. The insider claims there was even an unspoken deal. Kody and Robyn would keep the drama flowing. The tears, the fights, the emotional breakdowns, in exchange for the network ignoring their financial dealings. TLC didn't just film the collapse. They helped script it. And what about Robyn's infamous lost confession? The one she allegedly begged production to destroy? That footage exists. It's real. And inside the production company, it's referred to as the Pandora's box tape. In that lost confession, sources claim Robyn admitted to manipulating the show's narrative to secure her future, framing herself as the victim while quietly consolidating control of the family's finances. TLC buried it because airing it would destroy the illusion they'd spent years protecting. It would expose Sister Wives as not a story about faith and unity, but a long con orchestrated by one woman and protected by a network too greedy to tell the truth. But the facade is cracking. 14 years of lies can't survive forever. The children, the pact, as insiders now call them, are the new generation of truth seekers. They've had enough. Using their own digital trail of evidence, they've secretly hired a forensic accountant to trace every cent. And then, one quiet afternoon, the reckoning began. A manila envelope, simple, unmarked, arrived at the homes of Christine, Janelle, and Meri. Inside was the preliminary audit. The smoking gun. The proof they'd all been waiting for. It revealed what the rumors had only hinted at. The shadow ledger was real. Payments from TLC rerouted through shell LLCs owned only by Cody and Robyn. Money meant for the family diverted into private trusts. Even investments in luxury stock portfolios, including one in Victoria's Secret, registered under Robyn's name. The document also exposed how the down payment for the Flagstaff mansion was taken from the shared family fund, disguised as a non-recourse intra-family loan. A loan they never planned to repay. When Christine read it, she reportedly wept, not from sadness but from fury. For years, she'd watched Janelle live in an RV while Cody and Robyn built their dream home. Now she had proof. Janelle's heartbreak turned to vindication. They immediately united, not as estranged wives, but as allies. Their attorneys sent a demand letter: repay the funds within 30 days or the report would go public. That was the moment Meri stepped out of the shadows. Her long-awaited memoir, already written but unreleased, suddenly became evidence. Her publisher moved fast. Leaks began surfacing, screenshots of Cody's texts, banknotes, and copies of the secret LLC registrations. The walls of Cody and Robyn's empire shook. Witnesses say their home became a war zone. Cody raged, blaming Robyn for the collapse, accusing her of greed and secrecy. Robyn fired back, claiming she was protecting their assets from his reckless ego. The empire they built through manipulation and deceit was now devouring them from the inside. Publicly, they tried damage control, releasing a statement calling it a smear campaign. But it was too late. As the leaks spread, the Pandora's box tape resurfaced in public conversations. Advertisers began dropping sister wives. TLC had no choice. In a stunning move, they canceled the show, effective immediately. The network that had made the Browns famous now disowned them completely. Cornered, broke, and humiliated, Cody and Robyn agreed to private mediation. The result was catastrophic for them, but finally, justice for everyone else. They sold the Flagstaff mansion. The profits went into a trust divided among the other wives and their children. Coyote Pass was liquidated, the debts repaid with interest. Christine rebuilt her future with David. Janelle finally bought her forever home. Small, peaceful, stable. Meri's memoir became a national bestseller. Not gossip, but a warning about financial and emotional abuse hidden behind faith. And the children, the ones who saw everything, stood together. Their trauma became unity. Their silence became power. As for Cody and Robyn, they got what they always wanted: a monogamous marriage. But it came at a cost they never expected. No mansion, no empire, no audience. Just two people sitting in a rented living room, surrounded by boxes, haunted by the ghosts of everyone they used and lost. In the end, it wasn't TLC or the wives or the children who destroyed the Brown Empire. It was truth. And when the last secret fell, there was no crown left to wear, only the sound of silence in a kingdom built on lies. Silence in a kingdom built on lies.